Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. 7:56. Bonds stands alone.
Now Booker with Tucker on him. Throws it up for 8. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead.
Minute remaining. And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes, we are. Welcome, everybody, to the Taproom Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Stacks on Stacks on Stacks Lats. Here with my man, Mr. Raider Eddie. How you doing tonight, Eddie?
Good. Sorry for the delay in the show, dude. I did not think the Flames and Oilers were going to play a football game, but here we are. But yeah, ready to go, dude.
Yeah.
Good night in sports tonight.
Oh man, it was a decent night, man. I had a bad day betting, and that's like my first. I was on a hot streak, bro. 6 days, hot as fuck. All week this week, I was 4-0 on best bets coming into today. Lost both of them, and it started. I had Braves money line. They were up 4-0, and Corbin Burns was pitching for the Brewers. They were up 4-0, and the Brewers come back and end up winning the game in the 11th inning. And then it all just snowballed from there, dude. And that's kind of how it goes some days. So, you know, you take the bad ones with the good ones, and you hope you have more good ones than bad ones. Right. So we're going to bounce back tomorrow, though, in a big way. But, man, you were absolutely right about that Oilers and Flames game, Eddie. And I know you're a Flames fan, so it was probably really nerve-wracking.
It was horrible.
The Flames were up 6-1 at one point, and the Oilers come back and end up tying the game. 15 goals scored. Interesting tidbit here. I was researching it while I was watching because I was like, this got to be like one of the highest scoring games ever. Highest scoring game is 18 goals in the NHL.
Yeah.
Between the Oilers and the LA Kings in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So the
I think that was like one of the last time the Oilers scored more than 6 goals and lost a game.
Today?
No, that game that you're mentioning was the last time in the playoffs.
Lost.
The Oilers.
They won 10-8.
Oh, okay. Because I know they had lost in, I think it was 80. Oh, maybe it was the Blackhawks. Sorry. They showed the stat during the game. It was like 85. They lost after scoring 6 goals.
Yeah, I mean, if you give up 6 goals, dude, that's pretty fucking pathetic. Mike Smith gave up 3 goals in less than 10 minutes, dude.
He was out.
That was I played the under in the game. The under was 6.5.
I was done in like halfway through the first period,
basically, and they closed Calgary minus 170 on the money line. Minus 1.5 was plus 145. Edmonton plus 140 on the money line, and then plus 1.5 was minus 180. So if you played Calgary minus 1.5, which is a bold move, $1.46 on the value, so you're getting plus money. Bold strategy, but man, that over 6.5. Whew.
Dude, I'm just saying, like I was saying on the show on Monday, like when you bet, like in playoff hockey, you know what I'm saying? Like the plus 1.5, minus 1.5, like those differentials, they're not terrible. Like minus 1.5 is actually a good bet, unless it goes to overtime. If you go to overtime, you're kind of SOL because you're not going to have that opportunity. But I mean, even in tonight's game, for example, with the Flames and the Oilers, right? Like 3 minutes to go in the game, they're down 2. They pulled their goalie. And Kachuk got to empty that goal to get that 9th goal.
With 10 minutes left, it was still tied.
Right, but I'm just saying, like in the playoffs, you'll pull your goalie 3-4 minutes to go. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter if you lose the game by 2, 3, 4. You know, you got to try to win it. Right. So, like, I mean, the game tonight, though, if we're just gonna like break down the game, this is gonna be a fluke in the series. I don't think like 9-6 and like these high scoring games are gonna be consistent. I mean, there
Yeah.
were so many turnovers by both teams. I think Edmonton ended up with like 20 turnovers, which is just an incredible. It's not. This isn't the NBA. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you don't have games with 20 turnovers. There's 14 penalties in the game. Just Evander Kane's like a tough guy because he knows that you can't fight in the playoffs because you get suspended for a game if you do. So, maybe he was betting, maybe he had the over, dude, because he was letting a lot of dudes like fly by him too. So, overall, though, just an insane game. I think the one thing that we can learn from this though is that Edmonton's gonna have trouble slowing the Flames down just because they get so many shots on goal. Mike Smith's gonna have to stand on his head. They don't have Jake Ottinger back there. You know what I'm saying? So like I think going forward for me, when I'm looking at this series, I won't be taking Flames money line. I'll be taking them at the -1.5 on games I think they're gonna win.
Yeah, I mean it's always betting -1.5 goals is it's bold, man. It's bold. But yeah, I mean that's obviously where you're gonna get the value out of this series, right? But I mean, this was crazy, bro. When me and Ben were talking about this game last night, I was saying like, oh, dude, I love the under in this game because the Flames don't give up a ton of goals, dude. They're one of the better.
Yeah, they're one of the best
teams.
defensive teams in the league.
And when you look at their stats, like Calgary second in the playoffs in power play kill, Edmonton first. Edmonton didn't even get a power play goal in this game, dude. You know what I mean?
The Flames penalty kill was fantastic today.
Yeah,
like
they were over.
They lived up to that at least.
It was really fucking. You're right, dude. The turnovers, like it was just a anomaly type game, dude. I definitely don't think we're gonna see another high scoring game like this. But this is how Edmonton wants to play, and the fact they lost this game does not bode well for them, dude.
Right. It does. Like if I'm an Edmonton fan, I'm trying to look for some kind of silver lining in it. Like your team was down 6-2. You came back and tied it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if Calgary loses that game, like the series is over, in my opinion, if Edmonton comes back and wins it. So you were like on the doorstep of just like a total back-breaking comeback, victory. But at the end of the day, the Flames are just deeper at the end. We mentioned this. We could talk, dude. Yeah, they're just deeper all around. But at the same time, Edmonton's got the two best players in the league, and Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. And McDavid was nasty today. Like, there's a reason why he's nasty. He is the best.
But you expect that from him. Really, right. It's just Markstrom is obviously normally a better goalie than he was tonight.
Mm-hmm. He looks so uncomfortable.
The Oilers only had 27 shots on goal, and they put in how many? Six right. Total. Like it's a horrible save.
Yeah, percentage. They shot better than Steph did from the free throw line.
They did do that. Before we get to basketball though, let's talk about the other game we had tonight. Carolina and the Rangers ended the game 2-1. That game kind of went as expected. Two very great defensive teams.
Mm-hmm.
Igor Shesterkin, however you pronounce his last name. I'm sorry if I blew that, dude. I always fuck up his last name. But he was great. He was great tonight. He did what he did throughout the entire season. And, the Rangers had a chance to win that game. And they weren't able to close it out. But Carolina's really good at home, dude. And the fact that they're
the best
took that to overtime, I think that only builds confidence if you're the Rangers, dude. So I think this could be a dangerous series. And I told Ben this before the series started. So I kind of like the Rangers to win this series, man.
Yeah, like if you're looking for somewhere to get an edge, dude, like you could probably I don't remember what it's looking at right now, but I think before the series, the Rangers were plus money, like plus 160, 170 to win the series. After a game one loss, they're probably even higher, maybe like 220.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know the exact number though, so you have to look it up on your local book or whatever. But
they haven't really seen it.
If you look at this game, right, like game ones in hockey are supposed to go to the home team typically. Like it's like that momentum, the crowd's into it, especially in Carolina. They haven't been there in a minute, what I'm saying?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, they literally played an exactly even game. Like if you look at the stats, like there was only 2 shots that separated the teams, like 9 hits, which is whatever, but penalty minutes were the same, block shots were pretty much on point, like face-offs won were similar. So 2 teams played an evenly matched game. Carolina just being the best home team in the NHL this year.
Yep.
You know, they had that little advantage. And then plus, when the Rangers went up early, you know, the Rangers were up, I think the second period, they got their goal like halfway through.
Yep.
Once Carolina scored, it was kind of like, oh, that's your chance. You know what I mean? Like they had to have a shutout, I felt, because they weren't going to get too many by. And then
Well,
once
shutouts
that
are
goal,
difficult, dude. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
extremely. But it just like the game felt that way. You know what I mean? Like it felt like it was going to be a one bounce type game. You know
Well,
what
I
I
mean,
mean?
like that's kind of how both these teams play, though. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like these two teams are very similar. They're both like they both thrive on the defensive end. I think with New York, they're obviously a lot younger, right? They have like all their guys are very young, and this is really their first time in the playoffs for most of their team, right? So I think that the fact that they were in this game, like as
Right.
much as they were, I think that only builds confidence. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I think that is going to bode well because I don't think anybody expected the Rangers to win the first two games. Like if you steal one of those games, like you literally steal one. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
That's good for them, and then they go back home and they just have to take care of business. But I think this could be something interesting going forward. I think you're right. If you can get some value, like plus 220, plus 240, doesn't hurt to throw some money because the Rangers showed that they belong.
Right.
They belong
Agreed.
in this series, and it's not going to be easy for Carolina to win this series.
Yeah, and the Rangers weren't like were I think above 500 on the road this year. So like it's just it's kind of like a battle of two strengths,
Yep.
really. So I think the games in Carolina, you can look to be like playing the unders because it's going to be just like one of those slow pace, like
Well, the
defensive
under
grind.
closed 5.5 today, and it still went under.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Like
So
that's how
like
it's
this,
going to be. The whole series is 5.5. Probably.
yeah, like 2-1, you know what I'm saying? 3-2, like that's going to be your final scores in these games in Carolina. In New York, it's a completely different game. Carolina is almost a different team in New York or on the road. I mean,
Yeah.
so like, you have to wait and judge on that one. But I think for the next, like at least for their next game, I'll be looking at the under too.
I agree. Well, let's talk about the other. We had the Mavericks and Warriors today.
Yeah,
Game one of the Western Conference Finals. The Mavericks absolutely fucking were dog shit today.
That is one big pile of shit.
The Warriors
yeah,
dominated 112-87, but I think the interesting thing about this game, and like obviously I was watching this game very closely because I'm invested in the Mavericks in a future, so I really need them to win, but that's here nor there. But the interesting thing to me is like I was texting somebody and I was like, you know what's crazy is like you watch this game and like the Mavericks are getting their ass beat, but you look at the box score and it's like you would not think if you look at the Warriors box score that they won by as much as they won. They shot 34% from three. They had 15 turnovers. They had more turnovers than the Mavericks did. But really where the game was lost for the Mavericks, 11 for 48 from three, dude.
Yep. I was gonna say that same thing. They were like 2 of 17 in the first quarter, 3 of 17. Like,
In the first half, they were 7 of 29. Just
can't do
awful,
it, dude. That's like a turnover right there.
It
dude.
basically is because it leads to long rebounds, which leads to transition, and that's where the Warriors absolutely destroyed the Mavericks tonight. Was in transition, and I was telling somebody though, I was like, bro, like the Mavericks were missing a lot of wide open shots, dude. It wasn't like they were like contested shots, dude. They were missing some easy shots, and those are gonna eventually fall. I mean, this is a team that's been shooting 39% from three in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So. I think there might have been some wear and tear from that 7-game series with the Suns, and obviously the Warriors had a little bit more rest, and they looked more fresh, right? So I think that's interesting. That was interesting to me. But if I'm backing the Mavericks, which obviously I am, you look at that game and it's like, okay, dude, 11 for 45 from three, dude, you're not gonna win a fucking game like that.
Yeah, never.
You know,
never.
And if they even shoot like even close to what they've been shooting in the playoffs. You know, you're talking about 21 point difference, you know what I mean? And do they lose that game? Yeah, but they don't get their ass fucking blown off, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And like I wouldn't think I was talking to a buddy of mine, another Warrior fan, and he's like, talking a bunch of shit about the Mavericks, but it's like they look bad games 1 and 2 against the Suns too.
Very, very
And
fair point, dude.
you know what I mean? And then they came back and like dominated the rest of the series. So do I think that this is like a premonition for the rest of the series? Not a chance. I think this is a Mavericks team that's never been here before and a Warriors team that's been here 6 of the last 8 seasons. So they're more experienced. They know what to expect and they're at home. You know what I'm saying? There was just because like in the first quarter, even though the Mavericks were missing all those threes, like I didn't feel comfortable as a Warriors fan watching the way the game was going because, like you said, they had a bunch of open shots, just missing some open looks, just missing some rebounds, some loose balls, like the 50-50 balls that can go either way.
Yep.
Like it was just seemed like a lot of things were going the way for the Warriors tonight. One thing I did notice in this game, though, which I think might help benefit us in the future, us being the Warriors, when I say that, by the way, is Kevon Looney he's been
great.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The dude's going to get a huge deal in the offseason from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But like he is dominating the inside, at least in this game and also in game 6, obviously against the Grizzlies. But that's something the Warriors haven't had is that like big man presence on the inside. You know what I mean? So if he can continue to do that, I mean, Clay shot terrible in the first half. Curry didn't shoot well. Like you said, 34% from 3. Like there's a lot of things like both ways I think can improve.
Yeah, but the one thing is to add on to that is Curry's been shooting that bad all playoffs.
Right.
And that's exactly why I picked the Mavs to win the series and why I put a future on them to win the series was because I know what I'm going to get from Luka every single night. But I don't
What's
know.
up with his shoulder?
He's always hurt, dog.
That's no big deal. They didn't mention anything. I didn't like look it up and see if there's
nothing said yet, but he'll be fine. But I know what I'm gonna get from Luka. I don't know what I'm gonna get from Steph anymore. I don't know what I'm gonna get from Clay, and even Jordan Poole's been pretty inconsistent through the last series. Right. So like tonight, Andrew Wiggins was big. You know, Curry hit a couple big shots. Jordan Poole had a good game. But is that going to happen again? I don't know. You know, can I count on Andrew Wiggins to do what he did tonight? 17 points and he made some big shots. Can I count on Jordan Poole to do what he did tonight? I don't know.
Right. I don't really trust Wiggins. You can't trust Wiggins to do that every game. Like when the Warriors came out in the first quarter, I think halfway even through the second quarter, Clay and Steph were like 1 for 10 at that point.
Yeah.
And the only reason they had the lead is because Wiggins started off the game hot.
Yep.
He was drilling threes, you know what I mean? Like drilling threes, playing defense. And I think he's a good matchup on Doncic on the other side too. He could stay with him. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's a lie because there's not a player in the league that can guard Luka, dude.
There's not, but he did enough to like bother him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all you could really ask for.
Well, I think the big thing about Luka's issues tonight is that once nobody else started hitting, like I said, dude, they were leaving him wide open because they were like triple teaming Luka,
right?
And those shots weren't falling, and then Luka was trying to do a little too much, turn the ball over a little bit. He didn't shoot very well from 3 of 10. He didn't score many buckets at the paint, but that's because he was facing so many defenders. That's why it's very important for those guys to knock down those shots because that opens everything up for Luka inside, and he wasn't able to do that tonight because they weren't hitting shots. Yeah. Because no one else played well on that team. Like, nobody played good.
Yeah, no. I think it's just a young team, right? Like, nerves got the best of them, is what it looked like. Like, in the beginning, that came out, they're running their offense, everything looks smooth, and then, like, the Warriors put a little pressure on, and they just kind of, like, because they were taking shots with, like, 11, 12 seconds to go in the shot clock. The Mavericks were, and that's the complete opposite of their style of play, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they just got caught up in that run and gun system. And then if you do that against the Warriors, you're going to lose every time.
Yeah, no, they played into their hand, dude, and a lot of that's because they were missing shots, you know what I mean? Long rebounds go to transition. Let's look ahead to tomorrow's game, man. We have the Heat and Celtics game 2. Al Horford still unlikely to play. He's out on COVID protocol. And you know, Miami Heat took care of business game 1. Had that as one of my best bets. Money line Miami, they covered. What's your thoughts on game 2? We've seen some line movement already, or I shouldn't say line movement, but this game opened Miami -3.5, whereas last game opened Miami -2. And then the over-under is 207.5, 208 at some books, but 207.5 seems to be like the middle number where I'm seeing it.
Right.
What's your thoughts
And
on
the
this
line didn't
game?
move with the announcement of Smart probably playing.
No, not yet, because they got their ass beat. So
Okay.
because of
Well,
that,
if it's 3.5, like I mean, I think Smart on Butler will be key, right? I don't think he drops 41 again.
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
he also
possibly.
shot 18 free throws, so
That's true. Yeah, there you go. So like I think that kind of comes down. Do I think Boston wins game 2? I mean, I think they have a better shot in game 2 than they did in game 1.
game 1 they
You know,
won every single quarter but the third quarter.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. So basically you're saying is they were the better team for 3/4 of the game, just that one quarter got away from them.
They were so awful that
Right.
it was the
So
difference in the game.
I mean, I liked Boston before the series, and
Yeah.
I said that they're going to steal one in Miami. Now, for my personal like betting, I kind of hope Miami wins, so that when Boston wins the next 4, I can get them at winning the series at like plus 300 after tomorrow night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, I honestly think that until Horford, like if Horford's playing, I'm going to ride with Boston, but with Horford not playing.
I don't think Horford swings it that much, though. I think not having Marcus Smart made it even worse because
I think he's probably the bigger.
They had to play Peyton Pritchard more, and that's where Miami was hunting him every possession. You know
every
what I mean?
possession.
So
just give him the ball.
If Marcus Smart's out there, they can't do that.
Right.
And that's a huge difference. You know what I mean? Plus, he's their point guard, technically. You know what I mean? And Jason Tatum, what they did in the second half and what changed in the third quarter was they started blitzing Tatum and making him get rid of the balls. And he was like forcing things, taking bad shots, or making bad passes. So having Marcus Smart kind of takes out of his hands because that's another guy that can handle the basketball. And like I said, dude, I don't expect Jimmy Butler to shoot 18 free throws ever again. That's not even in this series, but ever again.
In his life.
You know what I mean? Like, that was insane to me, bro. So I definitely don't see that happening. I like Miami in game 1 because Boston coming off a tough series, plus not having Marcus Smart shorten the bench, which is you kind of seen that happen too. Like they didn't have as many players to play. I like Boston to bounce back here. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, too good. Marcus Smart's a fucking dog, even though he flops a fucking shit ton.
Yeah, the king of flopping. That's fine.
No Kyle Lowry either,
Right.
That's
like
again,
I think Miami had everything going for it game 1, right? Like they have the momentum, the crowd. Like I feel like in the NBA, game 1s typically go to the home team. Like I would say, like I don't know the exact number, but like it feels like it's like 80% of the time.
So I was gonna say if it feels to me like game 1 is like the game to steal, because the home team is usually like overly confident. Like remember that 2001 Lakers series when they won every game in the playoffs and then they get in the finals against the fucking Sixers and the Sixers won one game in that series.
Yeah,
it was
game one.
And
Step over. Dude.
I always like revert to that kind of shit because I always feel like maybe it is a home team that's a lesser team, but they happen to be home. But I always feel like the underdog in the series always wins game 1 usually.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could be right. Like thinking back when the Warriors beat the Mavericks right in 07, they stole game 1. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, those are like ones we can remember. I'm sure it's happened a million more times. You know what I mean? But
I was thinking, the Bucks were underdogs last series. They won game 1. Boston won the series. The Bucks usually always lose game 1. Every fucking playoff series they play, they usually always lose game 1. That's probably how I should have known they were going to lose last series. So it's just something. That's why I like the Mavericks to win tonight, dude. But they lose. They have to take one of these games if they're going to win the series, bro.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
sorry to revert back to that series, but
I know we're going back to that one. But like, I mean, they can lose games 1 and 2 and be fine, because the biggest problem is when you go back home, let's say they win game 3 and 4, now you got all the momentum in the world coming back for game 5. You know what I'm saying? So like, really for me, like if the Warriors the Warriors have won 25 a road game in 25 straight series. You know what I'm saying? In playoff series. So
Dallas is tough to play in.
Tough barn, dude. I agree. But like we'll see. Really like if the Warrior if it comes back 2-2, I'm worried about game 5. 100%.
I think it's just like the last series, dude. Like against Mavericks and Suns, that the one team that wins a road game is probably going to win the series, dude.
Yep.
Got to win a road game in this series.
Always.
So you like Boston tomorrow? Plus
I
a
do.
3.5?
I do like Boston plus 3.5. I even like a money line, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I think they just win the game outright.
I agree. I like them both plus 3.5, and I like them on the money line. I also like the under.
Yeah,
I
think
under.
so. Because the first game was what, like one. What was the
It
total?
went way
Like,
over, but it was like a tale of two halves. Like,
oh, that's right. It was like
in the first half,
114.
Miami couldn't get a stop, and then the second half, or I should say, the third quarter, Boston couldn't get a stop, and that was the biggest
Right.
difference. Miami scored 39 points in the third quarter, and that was really what fucking killed the under.
118, 107. That's right.
Yeah, way
Okay.
over, dude. And Miami only averages 98 points in the playoffs, and they scored
Right.
118, bro.
Right. Like what?
Insanity.
Again, anomalies, dude.
Yep.
Anomalies.
Absolute anomaly. Even Boston, for as much like having Tatum and Jaylen Brown and stuff, for as good of offensive players as they have, like they're not a great offensive team.
No, they're not.
Like against the Bucks, they shot the hell out of the three ball. That was the difference in the series. Was they shot
Right.
the three ball? Fucking
Yeah,
lights out.
if they would stick to their season average, right, like for that series, then I don't think we're even talking about Boston right now.
Well, Chris
You know what I'm
Middleton
saying?
plays. We're definitely not talking about Boston.
Well, it's a boy. Yeah, I mean, it's a completely different series if he's playing. But I'm just saying, like with what we watched, right?
Yeah.
Like it just seemed they hit a dagger three every time they needed it.
Yep. But I mean, like that's what Tatum can do. That, you know what I
Right.
mean. So can Jaylen Brown. Those are great players. So I definitely expect Boston to bounce back. I definitely expect them to win this series too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about these hockey games tomorrow. So we got game 2 of the semi-conference playoffs. Let's talk about Tampa and Florida first, Eddie. So right now, Tampa leads obviously 1-0 in the series. Right now in game 2, they're plus 140 on the money line. Florida minus 160. Over under is 6.5. What do you think?
I think with this game,
Florida
where
minus
I'm
1.5 again.
with that mistake. So I think for this one, I'm going to lean more towards the over than picking a winner of the game, just because. I mean, Tampa puts up 4 goals last game. I don't see Florida not matching that. And I don't see him being able to slow down Tampa either. So
Yeah.
like a 4-3, 5-3 type of game, I can see it being the final here. I mean, Tampa, like my other thinking with Tampa Bay too is like they've played the most games in the NHL of any team in the last 2 years, right? Like they've obviously, when you win back-to-back cups, that's what happens. So I'm just waiting for them to get to the burnout, and they just don't. Like this is like something, they just seem like they have infinite amount of energy. So I can see that continuing, man. They did their job. They got one in Florida. But I don't see them slowing down, putting pucks in the net. So I'm leaning towards the over in this game. Over the 6. You said 6.5. So
Damn, I like the under in that one, to be honest. But I like Florida money line. I might even sprinkle some on the minus 1.5 just because I think they're going to bounce back, dude. They hit 4 posts in the last game.
that's true. That's where I'm sticking with the over, because I don't think Tampa's getting slowed down. You know what I'm saying? And Florida was inches away from making that a game.
I mean, Florida, they're such a good overall team, dude. They were one of the better defensive teams in the league over the course of the year, and they were one of the better offensive teams. So I mean, I expect them to bounce back a little bit in this series defensively.
Mm-hmm. It's the Lightning, dude. They just
but
score on everyone.
if you look at their last games played, like 5 goals, 12 goals, 12 goals, 5 goals. So I mean, it's like it kind of bounces back and forth, 12, 5. I think that the over under is a little too risky for me, I guess I would say. But I like Florida money line. Minus 160 isn't like a ton of great value, but
right. I think with hockey, if you're gonna like tonight, I did a Flames money line, Hurricanes money line. Like you just got to pick both the games, do a money line. You're gonna get plus like 130, 140. You know what I'm saying? Like, and at least it's money line, so it doesn't matter what. If it goes to overtime, if it doesn't, they just got to win the game. So I think that's like with hockey in the playoffs anyway. I guess at least in this point for me, that's been my best experience.
yeah.
trying to get value because it's too hard. Like we were talking
minus
before, the
160 is
1.5,
better value than minus 235. Like
which is for the Avalanche
you
and
know
the
what I mean?
Blues, which I think the value here, dude, is the Blues plus 1.5. I don't think that the overtime game's an anomaly for that series.
Yeah,
Like
well,
I
St.
mentioned,
Louis is a great defensive team.
that's what I
Binghamton
mean. It's
is,
just going to be a low scoring game. And I feel it's a bad matchup for Colorado. Like Colorado's the better team.
yeah.
I believe they get through the series. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? But I don't think there's ever going to be a
Colorado's
time when they're
7-3
blowing them up.
against the Blues in their last 10, 3-0 in their last 3.
It's just dude, that Blues defense is so good, dude. And they put it on display in game one.
Yeah, I think Colorado's on a mission though, dude. Remember when Tampa was like, they were like, everyone was like, they're gonna win the Stanley Cup this year, and then they got bounced in the first round. This is before they won their Stanley Cup.
Right. This was the year before, yeah.
Yeah, remember that shit? And then the next year they win the Stanley Cup. I think it's very similar for Colorado. They lose in the first round last year, and everyone's like, how the fuck did this team lose? Like, this is the best team in the league. Colorado's the best team in the league. Hands down, they're the best team, dude.
Oh, 100%.
And what they did to Nashville, and I understand, I get it, Nashville isn't like the best team in the world, but the Blues aren't that great either. They were underdogs to the Wild. You know what I mean? And the Avalanche are just a much better team. I agree, plus 1.5 is probably a safe bet, but whew, I don't know. I play the under in this game. If there's an over-under I like, it's under in this one.
Yeah, that one, the under looks good on this one too. I agree. Like this is gonna be a series that's like a typical NHL playoff series, in my opinion. Just grind out. You know what I'm saying? Even though
I could see the Avs winning a game like 3-0.
Yeah, that would be the biggest blowout. I agree. Because like the Blues, it's tough for them to score, dude. So like for them to put up 2 goals and lose, that's heartbreaking. You know what I mean? Like that's 2 goals for them. Usually that's a cakewalk, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, Colorado,
It's Colorado, dude. They're the best in the world.
Yeah, they're talented, man. They just come at you in waves, bro. Like they have 3 good lines, dude.
Yeah.
You know
and then that fourth line just beats the hell out of you. So that way you're not even ready for any of the top 3. It's just a well-rounded hockey team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're fun to watch too. They're not, you know what I mean? Like they're flashy. They can put points up in a hurry. Like as much as I hate the Avalanche, I have to say that they are the best team in hockey.
Yeah. St. Louis 2.64 goals against, Colorado 2.38 goals against, 3.26 goals for. So I mean, man, they're
and Colorado's good defense is attributed to their offense. You know what I'm saying? Like they probably lead time on attack, and like I don't know the exact number, but I would bet money that they're putting up at least 4 to 5 more minutes a game on time of attack than their opponents on average.
Yep. No, I agree. Sorry if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at all this data on the series. Got it pulled up to this screen.
Fact checks.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I think that this is definitely Colorado series lose.
Yep. I feel like it's gonna be a Colorado Calgary final. I might be looking ahead just because Edmonton can put up 40 goals apparently in like 2 minutes, as we saw tonight.
Well, they are a great offensive team.
They are. They just have no goaltending.
All right, let's get some best bets for tomorrow, Eddie. What bets you looking at for tomorrow?
Yeah, so we had talked about it before, about Boston plus 3.5. I'm even going to go money line with that. So yeah, that'd be my NBA best bet will be Boston plus 3.5, and my NHL best bet, we're just going to take the Blues at plus 1.5.
Blues plus 1.5. My 2 best bets of the night are going to be Boston, Miami under 208. Both teams are holding opponents under 45% shooting in the playoffs, and I think this game 1 was an anomaly, which we talked about earlier. First half, Miami couldn't get a stop. Second half, Boston couldn't get a stop really only in the third quarter. And Miami shot a ton of free throws, which I definitely do not expect again. So give me the under 208. And then my second best bet, I'm going to go to the Major League Baseball here. Padres money line at $1.08. So plus value. Phillies are 17th hitting the slider this year, and Darvish throws more sliders than he does any other pitch. 47% of his pitches are sliders. And while he has struggled a little bit, his xFIP is 403, so he's going to balance out at some point, basically saying that a lot of his ERA is a little bit of bad luck. Gibson is also averaging over 3 walks per 9 innings, who's going on the mound for the Phillies, and the Padres lead the major leagues in walks. I love this value. I think this line is way overvaluing Philadelphia, dude. So give me
this first 5.
No, I'm taking the whole game money line.
A whole game money line. Okay, I thought you said first 5.
I would take first 5 money line too, but usually like a line like this, I haven't seen the line out yet because usually first 5 lines don't come out till the day of. But I don't think you're gonna get a ton of value for San Diego because I guarantee these odds makers are factoring in what I'm saying right now to that
right
line.
Let's see if we have a first 5. Just oh yeah, they don't have it yet. Okay.
Yeah, they usually don't have it up till literally the morning of. And this game is early in the morning, so if you do want to play the first 5, which I don't advise against, I think the first 5 is a great bet. Get up early, put your bet in.
Yep. You got to work anyway, right?
Yep, exactly. I think this game's at like 10 a.m. Pacific
10 a.m.
Standard.
Yeah, 10:07.
Yeah, so this is a morning day game, dude. But yeah, man, I like that. I like that Padres money line there. And I've been hitting baseball like crazy, except for today. Today I had a bad day. My first bad day in a week, dude.
Yeah,
I was still plus money on MLB this year.
Yeah, I was doing all right in baseball, and then I had like 2 days in a row where I just whiffed, dude. Like 0 for 5. And
I started off like this, and then it's been like this since. And then today's like really the first day.
Like
I started off really bad, dude.
Yeah, I learned for myself with baseball. I do better like the more games we have played. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah,
like,
you gotta get more data.
Yeah, once I get more info, I feel like I always perform better. So I think I'm taking a break from the MLB betting, and I'll be back once basketball hockey's over.
Man, I love baseball.
Yeah, I love money in my account, and baseball is just taking it.
Shit, I've been killing it. Tail my bets, dude. Be making money. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Make sure to go to Tavour.com or download the Tavour app straight to your mobile device and use promo code Taproom for $10 off your first purchase of $25 or more. That's craft beer delivered straight to your front door, and you don't even got to leave your house. You can do it all on your fucking phone. For Mr. Raider Eddie, I am Jordan Stacks on Stacks on Stacks Lats. We will be back on Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Tap in with us. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow Eddie at Eddie TSP. You can follow me at Jordan Rules TSP. Holla at us, man. We'll see y'all next time. Have a great weekend. Win this money. Oh, Eddie, by the way, I forgot to ask you, man. I meant to ask you about this. The PGA Championship.
Oh, yeah. Gotta talk a little golf, right?
Any bets on the PGA Championship?
All right, long shot. Harold Varner III. The dude has been knocking on the doorstep. He won a tournament in Dubai earlier in the year. The guy's been playing great. And the Masters, he was actually on the leaderboard going into the final day. Epic meltdown. It's okay. He's getting closer and closer. I think you can get him at like plus 25,000 to win the tournament. Also, you can get Tiger Woods to shoot a round of 70 or better at plus 130 at some books. I think he has at least one good round in him. It's a shot maker's course, and Tiger's a shot maker king. And my pick to win is Jordan Spieth.
Oof. I have a bet. I've only made one bet on it, and I got Scotty Scheffler to finish top 10 plus 130.
Plus 130, dude? Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one too. I would endorse that as well because the guy is just the king of the world right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's playing fucking phenomenal. He actually, no other golfer has had a stretch of 6 weeks like he has it, except for Tiger Woods in his prime.
He's unbelievable. So yeah, I roll with that. I endorse that one for sure.
Nice. I had to get your word on that. I totally meant to open with that, dude. I totally fucking just totally.
But then the fucking Flames game just.
Yeah, that Flames game set everything off, threw me off. But we'll be back. Catch us on Sunday. Enjoy the weekend. PGA Championship. We got you some best bets. We take care of y'all. Have a great fucking weekend. We'll see y'all later.